Hello everyone and welcome back to round 5 of season 6 of our F124 Haas Road to Glory career mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here for the first American race of the season, the team's first home race of the all-new campaign. We're here in the Miami Gardens, ready for the Miami Grand Prix. Of course, if you missed out on the video that went live a few days ago from Japan, I would highly recommend going back and checking it off. It's safe to say I was just a little bit rusty in that first race return. But yeah, looking forward to what is ahead of us this weekend. We've got plenty of upgrades that are currently in the works. There you can see 3 ultimate upgrades on the car, which will hopefully boost performance. So hopefully I will get them all in before this first race back. George Russell leading the Drivers' Championship, just 4 points clear of Charles Leclerc over at Mercedes, with Alonso, Lando, Norris and Oscar Piastri inside your top 5. We are currently P7 in the Drivers' table, P6 in the Constructors at the moment. So yeah, I feel like we've done pretty well early on in the campaign. Of course, if you're new around here, please do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed to the channel. We're trying to hit 140,000 subs here at the moment. And are we going to get any of those upgrades in? Yes, we are. We're going to get at least 2 of them on the board there, so that's really, really good to see. That will hopefully bring our performance up towards some of those other teams. There you go, so we are now effectively the 6th best team on the grid there, and not far away behind Aston Martin and Mercedes as well. But yeah, obviously our first sprint weekend of the year, so plenty to go through. Let's head straight into qualifying.
It is driver versus stopwatch. It is a venue that is new to Formula One in recent years, but you have to dance the car to the edge. It is Miami, it is qualifying. Who will take the pole?
Well, the sun is meant to be shining all weekend here in Miami, so hopefully that will give us a good chance to learn what the pace of this car with its all new upgrades, what it's going to be like, because that's not the way to try and attack turn 1 there. Huge rear locking moment through that first corner, but luckily we're going to keep the car pointing in the right direction. If I wasn't awake already this morning, well, that certainly is going to give me the wake-up boost that I need there as we try and navigate our way. Oh, I'm just struggling a little bit for understeer through the exit of Sector 1. We had a pretty rough qualifying session last time out at Suzuka. I think it was our first time that we were, way right down towards the bottom of the order. So hoping that we're not going to have the same story today as 215 miles an hour by the time we get down towards the end of the back straight there. This should be, though, where we're always really strong inside F124. Attack those curbs through the chicane. Oh, again, a little bit wide, though, on the exit. We're really struggling when the front end's not loaded up. Really struggling to get any kind of bite out of it there, but we've done a pretty good job through that middle sector, which is starting to run out of battery, though, towards the end of the lap here. So we're going to lose a little bit of speed as George Russell. How many times have we seen him take pole position so far this year? I think it's going to be another one here today out in Miami. At the final corner, Russell will line up P1. We end up P6. Well, there we go then, half a second away from George Russell come the end of qualifying, but just like last weekend, it's going to be Russell, Verstappen and Lando Norris that make up your top 3, ready for our sprint race here. Gasly ends up in P14, so that's a pretty good effort by him as well. Hamilton and Alonso will be gutted to be starting outside of the top 10. But clearly, yeah, the upgrades are working on this car. Let's just hope it's also more reliable.
We've got a good chance of matching our results from the last race here. Let's make sure we get the result we deserve.
Well, really hoping in our return to Haas that we can score points on their home soil. Of course, we have got 3 opportunities this season. I'd love to try and score points in every single one of them. But 10 laps ahead of us then to kickstart the weekend here in the sprint. Let's see what we can do as we wait on the grid then for those 5 red lights. Oh, mighty long hole, but it will be lights out, and away we go there. A little bit of wheel spin as Russell tries to defend from Verstappen down in towards turn 1. 3 wide for the lead they go. Plenty of contact through that first corner, but it will be Russell that hangs on there. We tried to get the nose up the inside of our former teammate and obviously last weekend's winner in Charles Leclerc, but not quite able to do so that time around is Yuki Tsunoda, the man that we battled with late on in the day as well, trying to have a look past us through the next couple of corners there. So a very, very kind of nip and tuck kind of opening half a lap here. Everybody, I think, has avoided damage, though. That's the most important thing there. As we look at the straight line speed Tsunoda's got. Of course, always the case in Miami that you have to run a higher wing angle than the AI seem to, as the McLaren's now side by side. There goes Enzo Fittipaldi as well, trying to look down the inside through the hairpin there. Luckily, we'll be able to hang on around the outside in that scenario, but yeah, losing one place then off the start here, not exactly what I wanted, but it could have been a whole lot worse. I mean, how much straight line speed has that Ferrari got? Fittipaldi again, absolutely flying past me there as the McLarens and Max Verstappen really trying to put on a show early on. Oh, a little bit of wheel banging there with Fittipaldi out the final corner as we both just struggle to try and get the power down. Ferrari, I'm sure, won't be happy about that one. Fittipaldi again just trying to move around in the braking zone. So all this is doing is giving Tsunoda an opportunity to break free with those top 5 cars there. But yeah, that was aggressive with Enzo. Oh, we've got yellows, we've got yellows. Is that someone in front? I think that's a car behind breaking down. I believe that's the Williams of Alex Albon then that is going to be out in the sprint there. So not really what that team would have wanted, and disappointment for the Thai driver. You can just see now Yuki Tsunoda has actually dropped away from Charles Leclerc, so he might be a bit more vulnerable this time round as we make our way out onto the back straight. Let's see what we can try and do. I mean, I'm not convinced we'll have the pace to try and get up with the top 5, but if we can try and have a look past Yuki here, because he had some good battles with him last weekend as well, so it might be us versus the Alpine as kind of the best of the rest this season. So we'll try and put the power down around the outside of Tsunoda will go, still wheel to wheel on the exit of the corner there. We were identical as we cross the start-finish line, but we'll have the inside line for turn 1. We'll just be able to get a little bit later on the brakes there, and that'll be us finally back to where we started in P6. Well, this car might have just what feels like too much power, but it certainly doesn't have enough straight line speed still. Tsunoda flying back past me. There you can see, yeah, that's stricken Williams. Well, I think now Tsunoda's ran himself into a bit too much problems here. He used way too much of his battery over the last couple of laps, so now he's really having to try and save it. So what I've done, I've tried to save up as much of our battery pack as I can here, so hopefully now if we can get a run on him, because he's having to save a little bit there, he's going to try and deploy anything he's got left in that Alpine. But we're going to go to the outside then, hopefully just get on the brakes a little bit later. Around the outside we'll go. We'll still, I think, keep that DRS. No, we won't. But now we've got to try and break free through the first sector of the lap here. Otherwise, this is not really going to work out for me. I just want to get away from him and Enzo Fittipaldi here late on in the day. Is attacking those curves through turn 1 and turn 2. We've got the gap up to about half a second. We need to absolutely send it as we make our way in towards the middle sector. Oh no, again, here comes Yuki Tsunoda. Straight back past us. How many times have we said this so far today? And there goes Fittipaldi as well. Really does feel like the first time ever that we've seen Fittipaldi looking strong and wanting to try and battle with more cars in front of him. I really want to see the Brazilian have a better year. You know, last season was such a struggle for Ferrari that it really wasn't a great place for him to start in Formula 1. But this season, hopefully, we're going to see him, you know, able to fight a little bit more. There have been a couple of iconic Brazilians that have driven for Ferrari in the past. See Barrichello, Felipe Massa, who both obviously missed out on world titles. But here goes Fittipaldi then, with just over 1 lap to go, pushing Tsunoda down in towards that final corner. Not wanting to look for the move just yet. As again, you can just see when we're stuck in the dirty air, really, really struggling to put the power down in this Haas car though. So again, Fittipaldi just will hold off down in towards turn 1. Tsunoda's really got to try and save up the battery and get a good run out onto the back straight. Well, will we see Fittipaldi then get the run now, or will he just try and hold off and wait for those final few corners of the lap here? I think he's going to try and go for it against Tsunoda there. They're going to both force each other a little bit to the inside of the racing line, and this will just allow us to close in a little bit more here. Still side by side they'll go. Fittipaldi not wanting to back out of it. He will just in the end, as Tsunoda there will get around the outside We are just trying to follow these two. Oh, through the final couple of corners, then nudge the wall. Pick up just a little bit of front wing damage. That won't make much of a difference, though, as we've got just a couple more corners left to navigate then. Fittipaldi to the outside of Yuki Tsunoda. Can we get the run on the pair of them, though? As Fittipaldi there, I don't think he's got enough ERS left. We're going to try to look around the outside of Tsunoda as well. We're 3 wide in towards the final corner. George Russell is going to take the victory here in the sprint. Will we get past Yuki to the line? Yes, we will. Well, there we go then. Maybe just a little bit of redemption after Tsunoda beat me last time out in Suzuka there. But George Russell takes the win, just 0.2 of a second ahead of Lando Norris. Max Verstappen in P3 ahead of Piastri and Charles Leclerc there, with myself, Tsunoda and Fittipaldi rounding out your point scorers. Just Alex Albon that failed to see the checkered flag. That means, though, Russell extends his gap at the top of the table to 8 points now over Charles Leclerc. But a lot can change still by the end of the weekend. Let's head into the main event. Well, I'm going to try and strip out just a little bit of the downforce so we've got a bit more straight line speed ready for the GP, but it does feel like this car is always going to be compromised around this venue. Also trying to make sure we don't have a huge rear locking moment through that first quarter there. But George Russell, we've seen him and McLaren, I think, take pretty much every pole position so far this campaign. Are we going to see another one? And the second of the weekend for our fellow Brit there. So we once again just run a little bit wide through that first sector. Try to get to the apex that time round, though. By the time we get out of Sector 1, we're actually further down than I found myself last time round, so that's not ideal. Everybody else getting quicker and quicker as the weekend goes on. I'm doing the opposite, apparently, but luckily, again, this second sector should be where we really do come alive there. Again, just struggling to scroll off the speed, though, in towards the corner. So, yeah, this lap really unravelling, actually, from us at the moment there as we try and chuck the car over the curbs as best as we can. Just try and get it dialed in out onto the back straight there. We did gain a lot of time through the middle sector. We actually went fastest. So this car working really, really nicely through those twistiest sections. And again, still clearly we're running more downforce than most of our other runners there on the brakes at the 100-meter board there. Maybe just a little bit too late. Gather it up though on the throttle on the exit. And we've qualified P6 ready for the sprint. It's only P14 for the main event. Well, there we go then. George Russell, yet another pole position here. A 1:23.5 seems like a ridiculously fast lap time around this circuit. But yeah, both myself and Pierre Gasly struggling more there than we did in the previous session. We ended up behind both Williams cars come the end of qualifying. So we're going to have a lot of work to do as we head into the main event. But hopefully we can score some more points.
F1 seems to be growing by the day in the USA, and today's race is a testament to that. It's time for the Miami Grand Prix. With great opportunities for wheel-to-wheel battles featuring 19 corners, 3.36 miles long, and expected average speeds of 138 miles per hour, the Miami International Autodrome will be sure to create lots of chances to overtake. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. George Russell will begin today's event in pole position, edging out Lando Norris, who'll start from P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Oscar Piastri, Verstappen, Fernando Alonso, Leclerc, Stroll, Perez, Hamilton, Tsunoda, Fittipaldi, Behrman, Firestarter, Ocon, Iwasa, Gasly, Ricciardo, Joe, Vesti, and Alex Albon picks up the last spot on the grid. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today.
It's not going to be easy to get another point-scoring finish from here, but give it your best shot.
Well, we need to try and get a good start then down in towards Turn 1. Luckily, there has some grid penalties for other drivers as well here, but we can't rely on any rain or any changeable conditions. We've just got to try and drive fast and hope that we've got some good pace in the race car there as we wait on the grid then for those 5 red lights. It's a mighty long haul, but it is going to be lights out and away we go. And one Williams serving penalties. The other one, we're immediately going to try and egg traction in towards Turn 1 there. Careful not to run into the back of Enzo Fittipaldi. Perhaps it should be our goal after the sprint race yesterday we don't make contact with him. As apparently, yeah, look at that. Fittipaldi, Tsunoda and myself immediately fighting each other once again at the start of this main event there. So, yeah, I think that battle is going to continue on from the sprint race yesterday. But looking up towards the front of the order there, one of those McLaren cars still side by side. Whoa, with Max Verstappen. So we get a little bit squirrely there. Really not the place where we needed to try and get a bad run, because now we're going to be under pressure from the second Alpine of Esteban Ocon and Ollie Behrman. 3 wide as we make our way down the back straight there. And Behrman, and I believe his second or third season in Formula 1, a power move. Oh, almost into the back of Ocon though on the exit of the corner. So we've got to try and fight our way back through. Right outside of the pair of them. Okay. Everybody Constantina and up, joining the queue. I will absolutely, well, very un-British of me, but I will barge my way through. And we are back into P12. Oh, we've got yellows. Oh, what's happened? What's happened? Oh, Alonso span. That was out of nowhere. That scared the life out of me. Everybody just stopped under this, and obviously with Alonso spinning there, we did pick up a tiny bit of front wing damage. Luckily, we'll get that repaired, but instantly the red flag being called out then. I don't know where we're going to restart this race.
But this is a chance to take a breath. We've got another half of this race to go, and there's still a big opportunity there.
Well, that's a bit awkward. We're going to have to try and run hard compound tyres right the way through to the end of the afternoon. So that's good. We're going to really have to try and nurse those towards the checkered flag. But look at that. We're going to really start in P6 then. So that's worked out really nicely for us. 5 red lights again. And it is going to be lights out, and away we go then. Not off to the best start in the world, as Alonso, despite being the one that caused that red flag, is going to be able to retain his position as well there. So we'll lose the 1 spot through those first couple of corners as Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris this time around go wheel to wheel. George Russell absolutely romping away once again at the front of the field. But yes, red flags go. That one worked out pretty nicely for us here as we're trying to look down the inside of Alonso in towards this middle sector there, and a big power move past the Aston Martin man. So yeah, straight back up then into P6s. We've been given a bit of a lifeline in this Grand Prix. Russell again though will try and pull away. Will Lando Norris be able to hang on to his coattails there as we look at the straight line speed of that Aston Martin? Try and stay alongside him into the braking zone as Norris and Piastri, a former McLaren duo, still wheel to wheel. I think Oscar Piastri might just pull this one off. No, he doesn't. Norris will hang on to P2. Well, it seems like at the moment we're able to keep up with Max Verstappen and this group of cars, because you can see Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris, they're still battling wheel to wheel each and every lap. I mean, unless something happens to George Russell, he's looking pretty safe at the front of the order. Luckily, tyre wear, well, seems to be pretty much nothing. As Oscar Piastri makes a little bit of a mistake through that first corner. Again, just Constantine as everybody back up. It's safe to say on the brakes, I do tend to panic.
Okay, information on Verstappen. They seem to have an issue.
Well, there we go. That'll make our lives a bit easier then. The team have told me I've got to try and find a way around Max Verstappen, but he's going to have some reliability gremlins here. That will certainly make my life a whole lot easier as we'll try and utilise some battery down this back straight. I mean, even then you can just see how little of a run we can get. I mean,
nice work, you smashed it. Really good job on hitting that target, mate.
The only thing I smashed there, Mark, was Max Verstappen, but unfortunately, yeah, picking up a load of front end tyre wear damage as well. Only a little bit of front wing damage though, but Verstappen, I mean, I should never really have expected that he'd give me any more room than he has to, but just getting a bit more of a squeeze than I was ever anticipating from the AIs. Hopefully this time round we'll be able to go past him with a little bit more ease. Again, that Red Bull top end is very, very competitive there as around the outside we'll go, maybe. Still having to go side by side with him there. We'll give him a big squeeze on the exit of the corner. Remind him why we are also a 2-time Formula 1 World Champion. And up into P5. Well, despite the fact Verstappen had damage, and despite the fact he was still willing to try and defend from me, annoyingly, what that has done is actually open up the gap to Oscar Piastri and co. just in front. So Charles Leclerc now moving up into P2 then. And he is George Russell's biggest threat in the Drivers' Championship right now. We will get back into the range though of Oscar Piastri as we make our way out into the back straight. So yeah, that is really, really assuring here. I just want to try and hang on to these guys. I'm not convinced we've got the pace to beat any of them. But as long as we can stay there and as long as they continue to battle, hopefully it'll provide us a bit of safety from, you know, the likes of Alonso and Perez behind.
Okay, they're slowing down. It seems like there's some kind of problem with their car.
And everybody seems to be having mechanical issues here, because now Verstappen and Alonso are going to be slow. Well, imagine just for 1 second if George Russell had a mechanical failure here. This suddenly would become a four-way scrap for the race lead between Mercedes, McLaren, Ferrari and Haas. So that would certainly be one to watch as well there. But yeah, Charles Leclerc really has returned in fighting form with Mercedes. That car is not the best on the grid, at least having a look at the theoretical performance, but he's extracting big results out of it. But as we get towards half distance here, I'm just starting to wonder, could a podium be possible at Haas's home Grand Prix? Oh, we've got yellows. Who's breaking down? I think that's Hamilton. I think that might be Lewis Hamilton behind. No? I have no idea who it is. Someone was slow, further behind. Oh, it's a Ferrari. It's Enzo Fittipaldi. Gutted for him. As I said in the sprint, I really want to see him start delivering some bigger results this year, and he was on for a good, like, P7, P8 finish, but that has been completely evaporated there in Ferrari.
Okay, we're monitoring somewhere on the internal combustion engine. Be aware that we're going to start to see a loss of power.
Well, okay, I suddenly got very nervous that was going to be us with mechanical issues as well. But poor old Enzo Fittipaldi on for some good points, and he is our first retirement of the Grand Prix. Oh, here we go, Charles Leclerc, he's lost the DRS. He's lost the DRS to Lando Norris here, I think. So suddenly now, Norris might be able to get a little bit of a breakaway on. I think Leclerc's used plenty of battery just to try and stick with him here. But 4 laps left to go for the Miami Grand Prix. Are we just now starting to see Leclerc and Mercedes not quite with the same pace of McLaren? Has Leclerc got back in the range of Lando? As we make our way out into the back straight, I'm trying to look over the rear wing of Oscar Piastri here to see what's going on with him, and I don't think Leclerc has. So suddenly now, Charles Leclerc is going to be under pressure from Oscar Piastri, of course, the man that replaced him down at Ferrari there. Lando Norris has got a lifeline. He can try and pull away and get yet another McLaren 1-2 on the board here. Charles Leclerc late on. He is really, really beginning to struggle. Oh, Oscar. Huge moment of oversteer there, and that's going to mean that he's definitely not going to get the run again on Charles Leclerc. But I was just about to say, Oscar Piastri, probably one of Formula One's calmest heads. He really does kind of just bide his time before he goes for anything there. And again, he's not going to be able to do anything against Charles Leclerc. But one more lap to go then. Oh, I hear from the Miami Grand Prix as we are just squirreling to put the power down out of those final couple of corners. It is now or never for Oscar Piastri if he wants to get another podium with Ferrari here. Charles Leclerc trying to defend from him. Of course, we won titles with both of those teams in front of us, and I want to try and win one with the team we are back at now, late on in this game's life cycle there. But as we navigate our way through the S's, are we going to be able to get close enough to Oscar Piastri? Again, we need to try and get a good run. Running just a little bit wide there, utilising that curbing. Just trying to get the power down as early as possible. But you can see Oscar, he's almost lost the reins to Charles Leclerc as well. So he's going to have to use this back straight to try and close in again on the Mercedes. And I mean, just look at that Ferrari straight line speed. Utterly ridiculous in a straight line there for Oscar Piastri. But it's not close enough again to get himself to Charles Leclerc. We are all just now playing a game of chicken, ready for the final back straight of this GP there as we hop, skip and jump over the curbs one final time. I've spent basically the entirety of this race following Oscar Piastri, and he can't put the power down. Oscar Piastri there really, really struggling. That might give Charles Leclerc the breathing room he needs there, as we're going to try and use all of our battery around the outside of Oscar will go. But I think that little mistake there is going to cost him. George Russell, he is going to go undefeated this weekend in Miami, but through the final corner, we will come through in P4.
A superb drive from the talented George Russell, who takes the checkered flag.
And that's 2 wins in a row now, of course. And it marks the fact that it's not a fluke. So You know, their head's in the right space. What more can we see going forwards?
Our winning drivers are on their way to the podium right now. It's been a fantastic race for McLaren, that's for sure. And no doubt they'll be celebrating tonight.
Well, there we are then. George Russell, a perfect weekend here in Miami. All 34 points available to him have been claimed there. Lando Norris makes it a McLaren 1-2, with Charles Leclerc another good climb through the field in P3. 13th to 4th for us. Admittedly, we did get very lucky with that red flag early on in the race there, with Oscar Piastri, Hamilton, Perez, Stroll, Tsunoda and Ocon rounding out our top 10 there. Shout out to Alex Albon, last on the grid, to almost scoring a point as well, is a really, really good effort there. And Alonso and Verstappen, both with mechanical gremlins, ultimately cost them a good shot at points. Enzo Fittipaldi, the one driver who failed to see the checkered flag. That means, though, in our driver standings, George Russell now then 19-point lead over Charles Leclerc. Lando still in third ahead of Oscar Piastri. We are now tied with Max Verstappen for P6 overall there, sandwiched between Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton in the point standings as well. Constructors-wise, 18 back behind Red Bull now. I mean, if things really went our way, maybe we could challenge them, as just 8 points in it between Aston, Ferrari and the Milton Keynes-based squad as well there. McLaren 60 points clear at the top of the Constructors, maybe just, you know, calming those doubts after Mercedes got their first win last weekend. But thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very soon when Formula 1 returns, ready for, I believe, the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix.